Spring 1996. Brian Bethel, a journalist, sits in his car in a shopping center in downtown Abilene, Texas. It's around 9:45 p.m. Intending to pay his internet bill, he pulls under the marquee of a second-run movie theater. While filling out the check, Brian hears a knock on his window. When he looks up, two boys are standing next to his car. For reasons he can't explain, he's overwhelmed with fear. He estimates the boys at approximately 10 to 14 years of age. One boy, slightly taller, seemingly older, wears a hoodie and jeans, has olive skin and brown hair. The second boy, a hoodie, pale skin, red hair and freckles. Brian rolls down his window slightly. The older boy, who Brian refers to as the spokesman because he does all the talking, explains that he and his friend want to see a movie, but they forgot their money at their mother's house. Can you help us? Brian hesitates. The younger boy glances up at the older one with a confused look. They seem to become a little agitated. They insist that he has to let them in. The spokesman asks for a ride home. Brian notes that they don't speak like children. They have a confidence about them. There's no nervousness speaking to a stranger in a dark parking lot. He asks the boys, "What movie do you want to see?" The older one replies, "Mortal Kombat." The younger one nods in agreement. Brian glances up at the marquee and realizes that the last showing of Mortal Kombat started over an hour ago. They seem to notice and become even more agitated. "Let us in. It won't take long. You have to let us in." Brian, still engulfed with fear, unknowingly begins to reach for the handle. He snaps out of it, looks back up at the boys, and notices something he didn't see before. Their eyes. Their eyes are solid black. No iris, no pupil, just black. They seem to realize that he has seen their secret. They press on him again. "Mister, just let us in. We won't hurt you. It won't take long. We're just two little kids. It's not like we have a gun or something. We can't come in unless you tell us it's okay." Brian, finally overwhelmed with fear, slams the car in reverse and speeds away. He looks back as he exits the parking lot. Nothing. No one. The boys are gone. Later, he calls his best friend Chad to share the story. Chad, with two female friends who claim to be psychic, listens. One of the females interrupts. "Did they have black eyes?" Brian, shocked, says yes. She goes on to tell him that just last week she had a dream. Two black-eyed children came to her door. Frightened, she wouldn't let them in because she knew if she let them in, she would have been killed. Brian may have barely escaped with his life. But what if he had opened that door? What if he had let them in?
Welcome to This Things Ghost Podcast. My name is Greg. You just heard Andy in the intro telling us a story about some scary children in a parking lot.
Black-eyed children.
Black-eyed children.
To be exact. Black-eyed kids.
Okay.
We'll call them BEKs for short.
Gotcha.
Scary, out-of-place kids.
Out of place. What do you mean by out of place?
Maybe dressed inappropriately for the time. Like in his story, it was warm weather and hoodies. Could be like out-of-date clothing. They don't seem to fit. Something's off about them.
All right.
Their wording could be off. Like they might ask you weird things that don't necessarily fit for a small child. Like in his example, they're coming up to him in a parking lot. You would think they'd be a little nervous talking to an adult in a dark parking lot, but they exuded confidence to him.
Okay. What was the estimated ages of the kids again?
They were around 10 to 14 years old. The older one 14. Was probably 14. The younger one, 10 to 12, I guess. He was like a younger brother to him.
Okay.
So that part could have fit.
I can see a 14-year-old coming up and saying crazy stuff.
Maybe.
Like I wouldn't necessarily see a 14-year-old being too nervous. It all just depends, but I guess on the circumstance, right? Because this was late at night in a parking lot, nobody else really there.
It's obviously really late. They were too late for the last showing of the movie, so you're looking at a dark parking lot with not too many people in it.
Okay.
So they should be a little uncomfortable, and they're just willing to come up and, hey, let me get in your car. Let's go to my house.
Yeah, which is strange. I would say that would be strange.
I'm not saying if you were in Brian Bethel's situation that you would be scared to death of these kids if it was just two normal kids that came up to your car.
Yeah, and that's kind of what throws me off about it. Like, there was dread and fear. Those words were thrown out in that intro, and I'm kind of confused because me personally, listening to the story for the first time, I did not experience any of those things. Usually if I'm going to hear like a scary story, right, I'm going to get there's going to be some kind of reaction to me like, oh, I could find that to be frightening, or, oh, that is actually scary. And this was like,
and that's what's
kids in a
weird about some of these situations is you get this strange feeling that you can't explain.
Not necessarily like from the situation, but like just
if this was a normal situation, you wouldn't be scared, but you have this uncontrollable feeling that comes over you.
Okay.
And you can't explain why you're scared.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's something that they emanate.
Okay, so they have a magical power to make people scared.
Or if it's just you realize something is wrong immediately, but you can't pinpoint what it is.
Okay, some kind of
because
fight or flight response situation that's happening.
And just like his story, most of the stories, the people don't realize that the eyes are completely black at first. It's like it's camouflaged or...
I was going to say, it'd be pretty noticeable for me to...
You would think if you looked at someone, you would notice their eyes were completely black,
right.
But he didn't notice it till the end.
You look at somebody's general overall face when you're having a conversation, and then you shortly thereafter will focus on someone's eyes.
And that's part of these stories. Most people don't realize it until they've been there for a while.
Okay. Why are their eyes black? What are they?
Well, that's part of it. We don't really know. Could they be demonic? Could they be ghostly? Could they be a shapeshifter of some sort?
Demonic. Okay.
Demonic is a big one.
Gotcha.
So if they're an evil entity, would their eyes be black? I don't know.
What? I guess my question is, why would an evil entity be waiting in a parking lot disguised as a kid, or I guess maybe taking over a kid? But that doesn't sound right because you said they wear things that are out of place. They
It
don't
almost seems
necessarily
like a
mesh in.
trickster element to them. Like they're trying, because
But what's the purpose?
well, if you're in a situation and a child comes up to you and asking for help, you're pretty likely to help a child, right?
Okay.
So that's where the trickster thought comes into it. They're disguising themselves,
Why?
whatever it is.
But why? For what purpose? Because my biggest thing is, okay, all right, I'm some kind of evil entity, whatever that means. Why would I have to be so worried about tricking somebody to let me into their car?
Well, there seems to be a sort of a rule set.
Like a vampire.
Maybe
I have to invite you in.
Yes, like a vampire.
Why is there who determined that there's a rule set? Is it just with these kids?
Whatever's controlling them, I guess, has a rule set that they can't break that rule. They can't just hop in the car and devour you.
They eat people?
Well, the thought is if you do let them in, that you end up dying. Not that they necessarily eat you.
You end up dying is pretty broad. Being murdered?
I mean, there's not a lot of stories of people going, "Hey, I let them in. 2 weeks later, I died." There are stories of people dying that have said they've encountered the black-eyed kids, but there's not a story that says they came in and killed me. I mean, if they came in and you died instantly, you're not going to be able to retell the story of...
Understood. But you're saying there are people that have died later that have claimed they have...
There are stories. There's
stories.
A couple that let the black-eyed kids in, and the husband died later.
How later?
Weeks.
From what?
Cancer, maybe. I can't pinpoint a...
Do we have names for these people? Do we have any concrete?
That's the problem. Is a lot of these are internet stories.
See, and inherently, here's a problem, right? If you're gonna say that somebody died from cancer, and that was that's gross. That's super gross.
Well, that's the problem with a lot of these.
My problem is with saying that someone died, and then but that one time they let 2 kids in or whatever. That's gross. That's gross, and whoever's making up these internet stories should stop being such a gross person.
That's why it's hard to pinpoint these, because we can't just go, well, that person died mysteriously.
Do we have any other stories that are written the same way as Brian Bethel's story is written?
I mean, there's plenty of internet stories of people encountering them, knocks at the door.
What is the reason that you decided to tell me the story of Brian Bethel's tale and not another tale?
The Brian Bethel story seems to be the biggest modern story that we can pinpoint.
That's a big story. That we just heard.
That's the first one that pops up. He posted it on the internet shortly after it happened. This is all pre-Reddit. He's been on Reddit since then, posting stories. But this is the first modern encounter that people go back to.
What made this story so impactful for people?
I think he was just the first person to really come out and tell it. You're going to see that a lot in all sorts of cryptid, UFO, ghost stories. People are reluctant to tell these for obvious reasons.
Because people are going to judge them?
Because they're going to be judged. They're going to be criticized. It doesn't bring good publicity.
I don't understand why this story... You chose to present this story. You know, that's the podcast, right? That's the show that we do. And so I'm not holding this against you, but you chose to present this story because apparently this is the most impactful story, and this story doesn't seem to have a lot of story to it. There doesn't seem to be anything other than a guy in a parking lot alone that claims he saw 2 kids that look spooky, and then he left. I'm not seeing anything that goes, and this is an actual phenomenon. It sounds more like, here's a story, and then other people jumped on and told stories too. If Brian Bethel actually survived some kind of attack from some kind of kid with black eyes that a bunch of tentacles came out and ripped off one of his arms, then I could be like, oh, wow, that's crazy. This just seems like he saw 2 kids. He got creeped out, I guess because he doesn't like kids, and he left. This is not that exciting, or I appreciate exciting stories. This is not exciting. It's just not that impressive.
Well,
it's nothing I want to
I
latch
understand
onto
that you're not super excited by the story, but it is a story that has been repeated. Granted,
just because something's repeated doesn't mean
every story can be copied, and
it sounds like, yeah, somebody read this story and then everybody decided to say this. Everybody wants to be part of something, so apparently they want it to be part of the story.
But we can go into that on every single one of them, whether it's Bigfoot, UFOs.
I get you. If you're telling me a ghost story about a place where a lot of people have died, and then I can see where you're coming from that. But if you're going to go, I'm in a parking lot and there's these 2 kids that follow the rules of vampires.
But the thing is it that people want the attention, and so they want to retell a story that they've heard somebody else tell, or is it that the phenomenon is happening to a bunch of people, and so they're retelling the story because it happened to them?
Well, here's the problem. If it is a phenomenon, and if it is an event that is happening at the scale that you're implying it's happening at, I would know about it. It's like some other people that don't follow this stuff would know about it.
I mean, the story is all over the internet if you haven't looked for it.
There's all kinds of stuff all over the internet. There's all kinds of garbage. Have you paid attention to the internet?
I mean,
do we want to talk about our political climate? And
there's common everyday things that are made up on the internet.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, there's no way that I'm going to say, but I can believe that guy, or I can believe these handful of people. This is a problem, and this is something that is probably going to be repeated over and over again. A story, no matter how cool people think it is, because a lot of this seems like, so far, is just stories that people think are cool. It doesn't mean anything. Just because somebody says something and somebody writes something about it, it means nothing. And I understand you're just telling me a story and you're introducing me to this stuff. But it's so weird that a significant group of people, and probably a significant amount of the population, right? Like a good amount of the population would go, I'm going to tell you the story, and then we're going to go, yeah, that happened.
I mean,
that's a weird thing.
Most of the things that we talk about are going to be stories that people have told on the internet, and it can be confused with like creepypasta.
Yeah. Okay.
Made up entities.
It sounds the same to me.
Yeah, and it's hard to differentiate that.
Is there actually a difference?
I mean, there is.
Is there truly a difference?
Well, we don't know. I'm not going to say that every or any story that we read is going to be true. Whether this one is or another one is, sure, would we love to find evidence that it is? Of course, I would.
Yeah.
I mean, even though you don't believe in any of this, if we found evidence that something was true, would you love to believe it?
If there's evidence, there's evidence. I'm so confident in saying that, sure, if I have hard evidence that tells me this,
and I get that,
then I'll believe it.
And I can
confidently say that I don't have to worry about that.
Well, you might have to.
I won't.
I mean, there's been plenty of things that we're going to talk about all the time that science didn't think was true, and then
No. That's a different rabbit hole. But I mean, I know what you're saying. Like, there
this is a far-fetched one.
Things that science can't explain either. But generally, if this is a phenomenon and this has happened to numerous people, this would be documented outside of just the fringe. Like,
But-
just
Also, if the point of them is to keep themselves hidden,
this guy saw him. Why wouldn't there? But apparently there's other stories. If their purpose is to stay hidden and not known, and this goes back to that gross story about somebody dying from a terrible disease, a sickness, and then we want to apply it to some kind of make-believe boogeyman. And I'm not saying that you were. I'm just saying somebody wrote that story.
I'm not saying that we should go, hey, this guy died. We don't know why.
It must have been
cancer.
black-eyed
He died in
kids.
his house. Well, he was given cancer by them. Like, I'm not saying we should, defend that you would go, well, he was only given cancer because he let these kids in.
Right,
Things
but I mean, I'm
happen.
saying that we should discount the people that wrote that. That story should be thrown out because the people that wrote that are just, they're garbage people to me.
If it's a made-up story, yes.
What I'm trying to say is you can't take all these stories and go, yes, because that's not reasonable. And it's not very responsible either. You can't go, this guy wrote a story on the internet too about a couple letting people in, 2 kids in, and then he died 2 weeks later from cancer. That's somebody writing a bad story and trying to capitalize off something that's terrible. That's bad people.
But there are plenty of stories that we can count of people saying that they encountered these entities and they didn't let them in.
And they didn't let them in.
So
all they did was leave some kids in a parking lot. It's what it sounds like to me. Either that or it's garbage hoo-ha.
But at the same time as we can discount fanatical stories, we also can't just discount every story.
I get it. My gut reaction
Not
is going
everybody
to be
out
discount.
there. I understand that. You're coming from that point of view that none of this is real. I'm not saying it's all real. I'm not saying this is real. But you can't discount every story just because you don't believe in it.
Because it doesn't fit my worldview.
Right. Because at some point we could find out that this is maybe more out there than a haunted house.
Which at least has history. There's at least sometimes. I can't even say that all the time. But I'm saying generally a haunted house. I would hope there'd be some documented history behind it.
At least someone died there.
That makes some sense to me.
Something tragic happened.
But and you said the word demonic, and you said all and we don't know what it is. I guess it vampires. Well, it could be whatever. Why do they follow a set of rules? It just seems goofy. It seems like kid stuff. It seems like goosebumps.
I mean, if there is something out there, take into consideration that there is some maybe evil, maybe not responsible entity.
Okay.
If you don't believe in good and evil.
Right.
That has a purpose just to, whether it's to eat or whether it's to just feed off your energy or.
But here's the thing.
Whatever. They're going to take different forms. And we're going to come into this.
This is my problem with a lot of this. I mean, again, you said maybe their prerogative is to not leave people alive to tell the story so they could. But apparently there's a lot of people telling the story. How do you.
Those people didn't let them in. And I mean, this all depends on a lot of things. Like I said, there seems to be some kind of rules to it if you believe it. So,
does that not make you feel like I brought up the vampire thing? Does that not make you feel like it is myth? It's Eastern European folklore. The reason why there has to be rules to something, if a bear were to knock on my door, there's no reason.
That would be impressive.
Well, bears can do that. He can just put his paws up. But what I'm trying to say is if a bear was to come up to my door, a bear doesn't have to go, can you let me in? So I can eat you. If we're talking about that something is some kind of a predator and it's actively preying on humans because it is non-human.
Right.
Why does it have a set of rules? That sounds folkloric to me. That sounds like hooey nonsense.
But
garbage stuff in order to try to make an interesting story.
But does that all come from somewhere?
No. It all comes from humans telling stories over time because they also could not explain why someone died or why this thing happened to them or why this person got sick. So they made up these make-believe stories. The same thing is going back to any, Zeus. There's a thunderstorm. Zeus threw a lightning bolt. That's where lightning comes from.
And at a certain point, we didn't understand certain things, so we came up with a story to explain it.
And that's what this is.
And right now, do we not understand a certain thing, so we have a story to explain it? It's how we perceive it. But maybe it is something out of our understanding, just because I understand what you're saying, but what it sounds like is we're trying to understand why people die suddenly, so we blame it on kids coming into a house. That is I'm not saying
that is infant thinking. That is past us as a species. It should be, at least.
But there are mysterious deaths.
I get it. There's all kinds of mysterious stuff all the time, but it doesn't have to be.
I'm not necessarily saying this one particular one.
I understand. I'm talking about in general.
You're right.
We should be working with inside a set parameter of what we do know, instead of immediately discounting all the things that we do know and jumping to something that is fantastical and out of this world.
It's not like
when we could look at something and go, that's a duck. It walks like a duck. It's a duck. It's not a duck that walks like a duck, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck. That's got to be a vampire.
Well, but it's not like we went, okay, well, these people died mysteriously, so what could have happened? It was black-eyed kids. Like
that's what they did.
No, there have been people that thought they encountered kids with black eyes.
I get you. I'm latching on to the story about the guy that died 2 weeks later after lit some kids in there.
I understand that. It was
a mistake to bring it up.
No,
to me?
apparently. I'm just saying the story was around before that. Now, did someone attribute a certain death to the black-eyed kids? Possibly.
People want to be a part of something, so people.
But some things happen that we can't explain.
People parrot other stories because they want to be part of the story.
100% true. There are going to be people that make up stories to go along with a certain narrative, because some people don't care how they're perceived, and the way the internet works, you don't even have to admit that it was you.
You can just do whatever you want to.
It's anonymous, so you can tell a story and it doesn't have to come back to you. But some people do give their identity when they're telling these things, and so those I would have to put a little more merit in. Could they still be making it up? Yes. But are you bringing more negativity to yourself by going, I saw black-eyed kids? Yes.
If you want to be a part of something.
And there are people like that. There are people that are going to go, it doesn't matter, negative, positive, I'm putting it in there. But for the most part, if you say you were abducted by aliens, you're getting a negative rap.
Here's my thing too is, and maybe it's just a me thing, or maybe it's just people that are like me. You come up, any stranger that comes up, or almost anybody, don't even have to be a stranger, and you come up and you tell me some kind of fantastical story and insist that it's true. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go, okay, that's cool, bud, go away. Like, I'm going to discount you totally and completely.
If it's a perfect stranger. But what if it's your best friend? What if it's somebody that you trust? What if it's your aunt? I didn't say a perfect stranger.
You did say a perfect stranger.
Did I?
Yeah. But go ahead.
But what if it's your best friend or your family member? Are you going to completely discount?
I've got some crazy I've got an uncle who sees skeletons in trees.
Well, maybe we need to talk to him.
I know. He takes pictures of them with very low resolution digital cameras and looks at the pixelation and goes, that's a skeleton. I don't believe anybody who tells me anything stupid unless they have something that's like, no, look, I'll show you, or this is true. Here's how. If you tell me something crazy, I'm going to go, you're being
I get that you're going to question it.
Oh, 100% I will. I don't have that.
If it was your most trusted person in the world.
Dude, it could be my mom. I would be like, nah, you're full of it.
If she told you honestly that she saw whatever alien ghost,
My mom,
you would at least take it into consideration.
No. My mom told me a story about her seeing a ghost that was a little cloud floating around, smelled like perfume. And you know what I said to her? Your brain's playing tricks on you. I know.
But you didn't think she was a complete lunatic.
Oh, my mom is a complete lunatic. I love my mom, but she's a complete lunatic.
But
I'm not saying
she's an honest person that's not going to just lie to you.
And I'm not trying to say that every person that does that is doing that, but they also want to have something happen to them.
Not everyone is coming out to lie to you, though.
We're going to get into another delicate subject of something.
Did it happen or did it not happen is a totally different subject.
My mom said she saw a ghost. It did not happen. I can discount her.
Does she think she saw a ghost, though?
She thinks she did, but she can be thinking wrong. The brain plays a lot of tricks on you.
And I'm not saying that she is not wrong.
Sometimes, especially over the years, stories become something else than what they actually are. You start to add and embellish it, and you don't necessarily do it consciously, but you do it subconsciously. The brain's crazy. And then plus you also want to, like I said 1,000 times, you want to be part of something more than what that is. You want to have a cool story to tell, and then all of a sudden you slowly start to believe it to be true, and then so on and so forth.
But not everybody that tells one of these stories is...
I'm not saying they're being malicious.
I'm not saying they're malicious, but that's not my point of this one. My point is, not everyone is even considering themselves a believer or is, considering any of this stuff to be real. And then they encounter something that they didn't expect.
Right.
There are people that aren't coming from my point of view that are looking into this stuff and are interested by it. There are people that just buy a new house and, wow, weird things happened. Do they believe it's a ghost? No, but they're still putting their stories out there.
Because they already kind of want to. I think people's propensity to believe is higher than what they suspect. That's the right word. People want to believe in things. It's the way it works. I think a lot of people. I don't
think that's necessarily true.
No, wait. I'm not speaking about ghosts, goblins, ghouls, demons. I'm not even talking about that. But people want to have something happen to them. People crave something that is not normal because our lives are typically boring and uneventful. And so when something eventful happens, even as mundane as some noises and clicks in an attic or forgetting to close your drawer or seeing a little kid in a hoodie in Texas in the summer, you go invent, like I said, not maliciously, maybe not even consciously. You start to build this thing up. And people and listeners, and everybody else, I'm not directing this toward anyone, but there are a lot of people that are not able to think critically. They will take and jump to the furthest ledge possible instead of taking the step forward to stay on the path. They'll just jump for it. And so they'll add these layers of inconceivable events and they'll just go for it. People like to go for it because guess what? Everybody's a little bored and they want to have a little bit of fiction in their lives to spice things up.
If you take offense to that, it's no such thing as ghostpod@gmail.com.
And you can go and say,
let him know. Let him know
condescending son of a gun.
Yeah, that you believe and you would love to believe, and he's wrong.
And here's the biggest thing is, and this is, like I said, even the people that believe, though, it's not even saying that that's exactly what you're doing. Some people are just trying to search for something because they want it to be so. And not in a way where they're manifesting it. It's just in a way where they're like, man, this would be great. And I think that's where kind of Andy's at. He's like, man, it'd be really cool if this stuff is real.
I think more of the people that have experiences and good stories are people that went in not looking for them.
And I don't doubt that. But I mean, at the same time, I'm talking like I'm on some kind of pedestal and looking down on people. No, that's not it. I consider myself a very critical thinker, and I'm not going to make that leap in logic. And it's going to take a whole lot for me to never make that leap. Like, for me to actually do that leap. I would have to rule out so many things. I would have to see a ghost or see a black-eyed kid, and I'd have to be murdered by it. And in my last death throes,
I hope so.
That would be the only time that I would have believed in it.
I can't wait.
It would take all of that to get me to that point. And that's just because I am so staunch on my
I'll be satisfied at the end of this podcast if you've seen things and I haven't. I'll be upset, but I'll be satisfied.
And see, I'm so convinced that I won't, because even when I saw something, but you see it out of the corner of your eye and all that's, I'm able to go. And that's obviously not that it is, because I have to work in the bounds of the reality that I understand. Right? I'm not going to make that leap in logic because there's 30 ways that I can explain that away. Just because I'm going to work within the confines of what I know and what we know. We've spent so much time as a society of going, let's prove things out, let's understand things. And yes, there's a lot of things we don't understand. There's a lot of things that we don't know, and there's a lot of things that science is wrong about. Don't get me wrong. But I'm going to check all those boxes, and this is an exhaustive list of boxes of the things that we've learned that's
definitely the way that we need to
species.
Think. We need to think, this is what we know. We know these things are true, but you can also keep your mind open to what we don't know.
I'm glad we got this far away from talking about these black-eyed kids.
I mean, it's perfectly fine. It's still relevant.
Okay.
It's still on topic.
Well, do we have anything else about what they are or what their intention is? Or is it just these little bits and pieces?
It's a lot of stories. I mean, we can link them back loosely to like historical stories.
Okay.
If we go back to the Iroquois' beliefs, they believed in a dark power called the Otcon that would mate with human females and produce black-eyed, chalky-skinned children. So
which is not how these kids were described, though. Black eyes, that's the only thing that's similar.
They're pale.
Olive skin?
Olive, okay. So it's not perfect.
It's not. You got anything else? You got anything else historical or mythological?
Well, just going with the same Iroquois story. Let me finish the tale.
Okay.
That the children, if the tribe thought the child was birthed due to Otcon, they would kill the child. Unfortunately, it's a little darker than maybe we should go, but they burned them to stop them from resurrecting. And Otcon could also take over children who wandered off on their own, and they would return to the tribe with pale skin and black eyes.
How is that the same as this?
They have black eyes.
That's the only thing. That's the only similarity.
I mean,
nothing else is similar. This seems like a reach.
I'm just saying. Where
they have black eyes. That's all you're saying. Eyes. Just be direct about it.
So
Andy.
There are stories of black-eyed children.
That means nothing because this is not what these children are. No. See, we're adding significance to something there is no significance to. You told me a story about Native Americans and their beliefs in a dark god thing or whatever
entity.
It was, and then that literally the only similarity was they had black eyes. They didn't try to invite themselves anywhere. They didn't kill anybody. They didn't do any of these things. They just had black eyes, and nothing else matches up. So that's just convenience for somebody to make something seem more significant than what it is.
But there is connection.
There is no connection.
There were black-eyed children.
Andy, you're not like this, and I know you know better.
I'm just saying.
No, black eyes is not the specific thing that we're worried about. Just because something has black eyes, it doesn't matter. We're talking about their modus operandi. We're talking about how they operate what we know.
We don't know.
You just said there's multiple stories about them wanting to be invited into somewhere like a vampire. We just talked about that a whole bunch of times. But
we don't know that the Otcon's children
No.
Didn't want to be invited in.
This is nonsense. This is literally somebody looked at a story and then tried to connect it with something that is not related. Just because something is similar does not make it the same thing, and that is not what this is. And this is the first thing that's truly agitated me that you have said. Because just because something...
Then listen to this one.
All right. That's going to agitate me more, right?
We're going to go even further back into history.
Oh, great.
To Scandinavian tales.
Great, do it.
The Mylingar. It comes to be when a child is unwanted and killed by its mother. They can be heard singing in the night, revealing the mother's crime. They believed if you gave the child a name or buried its body on holy soil, you could break the curse. They would chase people roaming through the woods in the wilderness, jumping onto their backs and demanding to be taken in.
Did they have black eyes?
Possibly.
No, okay. Also, completely different. Did these kids jump in his car and then be demanded? No. These kids are looking for
him.
This is a story about kids who get abandoned by their parents and they want someone to take care of them.
In ancient Scandinavia, did they have cars?
No.
So did they have to be invited into a car?
I would assume that they had to be invited to jump on the person's back. This is stupid. This is very stupid. And I know that you're not the one that put this together, but whoever is the person who decided to put all these things together and decide they relate, I hate them.
I will say that they are not direct correlations.
They're not remotely close.
But there is nothing, history.
There is nothing
of black-eyed children, of
Andy,
entities.
Andy, no.
Maybe these are not the same entities.
This is no. I just had a whole rant about how we as a human species have gotten past that point of being ancient Scandinavian or Native American. I guess we haven't, because we're still making the same stupid stories up, and everybody's still believing the same stupid stories.
Or are the same stories repeating themselves?
No.
Maybe changing a little bit.
No. The problem is...
Maybe they're catching up, just not quite as quickly because they're dressed like it's the 40s.
The human experience is, yes, being stupid. We're all a little bit stupid, and we all repeat the same mistakes that we do. We all go through the same things. We also have this need to be part of something interesting or have a story or to find connections, like between these stories and this other story. We have 2 or 3 unrelated stories, and we need to find the connection. We need to find the similarities. We need to find the patterns between them where no patterns exist. I think that has something to do with the way the brain works, right? We don't see coincidence the same. We don't understand coincidence. We don't want to believe in coincidence. We want to believe that everything's interconnected. And these things are obviously stories that were not inspired by one another's stories, but then after the fact, we want to find the pattern to it all. We want to put it together and solve the mystery, right? Everybody's guilty of this. I'm guilty of this. I see a thing. Oh, what does it do? You're trying to put the puzzle pieces together because our minds want to solve something. Our minds want to go, we found it. We did it. When there is nothing there to solve, there is nothing to put together.
I'm not necessarily saying they are all the same thing. I'm not saying
that you are. I'm just saying that the person that did this was kind of lazy.
But there are crossovers. There are...
Andy, that is not a crossover.
Similarities.
That is the human brain trying to find something.
There are similarities between stories. Granted, can people copy a story? Yes.
Yeah. Adding to the lore for no reason whatsoever, just to add to the lore of something.
But we see it all the time. If you just disregarding these stories, if you just look at even just ancient culture, there are unrelated stories across the world that
because
do match
humans
up.
Are the same. They have the same fears.
But they
have the same questions.
Is it just your brain overreacting in the same way, or is it the same thing happening to different people?
You're presuming there is an actual experience, when a lot of times it is not an actual experience.
Or is it?
No, it's somebody trying to explain something, because humans have the same fears, the same thoughts, the same. We're all the same. As far away as we're spread from one another, there's a reason why stories are so similar, because we fear the same things. We want to
fear
understand
the same thing because we see the same thing?
No, we fear the same thing because
see the same thing because we fear the same thing. It's the same question.
We're afraid of death. We're afraid of our children dying. We're afraid of all these things, and we need to cope with them in some form or fashion. And so what do? We construct narratives and tales, and we spread those in order for people to feel better, because we're all insecure little nothings on a spinning blue marble that are going to blink out in no time, and we can't process it.
But at the same time,
it's not at the same time.
Yes.
You don't understand. You have to understand.
You have to look at both sides of it. You don't
understand the human.
No, you have to look at both sides of it.
The human condition is the only side to it.
Is it your brain making up a story, or is it a story resulting from a thing that actually happened?
And you have to start as a reasonable human being living in this time, right? You have to go with the information that you have at hand. You don't discount the information that you have at hand.
I'm not discounting the information that's at hand.
Incredible. I don't have to go. I have to give each one of these things equal credence.
Why
I don't
not?
have to do that. You want to know why? Because I know how the real world works from the information that I can see and experience every day.
But you do not know everything.
I don't, but you cannot make that leap in logic for no reason other than just to consider something, because that is not the way it works.
It is the way it works. Okay. Back up, because that's not what this show is about. This show is about all possibilities. We're looking at it from two separate points of view, and you're not widening your point of view enough. I'm admitting that some of this could be completely made up and completely false, but you're not admitting that some of this could be 100% true.
I got you. It's discounting exactly what we're trying to do here.
This is
it's
maybe
undermining
not
the entire thing.
The most scientific method, but it is still based out of science. There still needs to be science in it. There still needs to be, is this true or is this not true? Let's go out and prove it one way or the other.
Right. Let's get all the information that we possibly can. I get you. I'm wrong about that. I just had to go on a tirade, I guess. I feel a lot better. Does that mean anything? Does that make you feel better that I feel better?
No, I don't like it when you feel better. As long as I feel good.
Yeah, it's true.
I know you feel the same, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah. All right. What else do we have after all of that craziness? That mostly just me talking and complaining about everything. Tirading. Yeah. I feel like that's going to happen a lot.
I mean, you're going to be upset by a lot of these things being thrown into your reality.
Yeah. I mean, I got you.
It's not every day you wake up and realize that black-eyed kids are trying to come into your house.
You're the worst.
Well, I mean, I think we can wrap it up kind of here. We've talked a little history, and we've talked a little present day, and we've talked a little bit about, your beliefs and non-beliefs. And
yeah, we got a lot of that.
So I think we can safely move on to bigger and better things.
Okay, that's cool.
So let's tell everybody how they can get a hold of us.
Sure. You can find us on Instagram. No such thing as Ghost Pod. You can find us on Facebook. No such thing as Ghosts. And you can send us an email. It's no such thing as ghostpod@gmail.com.
And that can be as strongly worded an email as you would like.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of
positive comments.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of people like, hey, why is this guy being such a D-bag?
It's not always going to be this heated.
It's not going to be this intense all the time. I'm still trying to acclimate to what we're doing. And I have a
doing
strong
a lot of
opinion.
teaching here. We're doing a lot of learning.
And I promise that I'll be more open to more things and a little bit more accepting. I'll do my best to do it.
But,
my very best.
Use those outlets. Tell us what you think. Tell us some of the things maybe that you've seen. Some of the
and tell me specifically why I'm wrong. That's okay. That's perfectly fine. And if there's some people out there that will say, some people out there that want to go, hey, here's why you're right. I would appreciate that too. I'm going to need something to balance out the negative comments.
I mean, just, give us anything you have.
Yeah.
If it's stories, if it's ideas, if it's experiences.
Anything. Or something that's just going to shut me up, maybe. That might
that's not going to happen.
Also, iTunes, leave a rating and review. Again, I would like for it to be
5 stars all the way.
5 stars. But
if you don't think so, that's fine too.
Yeah, but if not, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But I think that's all we got. And until next time.